We are still looking at question 3 from the Eastern Cape, November 2017, grade 10. My throat hurts, so my voice is going to be forced. So let's go. Nosizwe wants to start up a business selling cupcakes, which she will bake using her grandmother's recipe. Below is a list of ingredients needed to make 8 cupcakes. Study the information below to answer the questions. Now, before we continue, here we're talking about ingredients. So we're talking about in measurements and all that stuff. Here, this will be for paper 2. So this will be under conversions and measurements, if you like. So that's on paper 2, right? So remember grade 10s, this is for paper 2. Okay, let's move on. I've said that too many times. Ingredients, here it says ingredients for 8 cupcakes. So if I use this exactly as it is, whatever is written here exactly as it is, and I don't change anything, I'm going to get approximately 8 cupcakes. Great. So 100 milliliters of margarine will give me 8 cupcakes. 125 milliliters of caster sugar will give me 8 cupcakes. 1 egg will give me 8 cupcakes. So if I want more than 8, that means I need to use more than 1 egg. You see how that works? Okay. So we have vanilla essence, cake flour, paper cups. So we need 8 paper cups because we'll be making 8 cupcakes. Now the thing is here, I don't see any fractions. I like to deal with fractions and turn fractions into decimals so I can work with them nicely. Now it says here ingredients, butter, icing. So our cupcake will have, of course, it's not a cupcake if it doesn't have icing. So we'll use 40 milliliters of soft margarine. So we're getting more margarine for the icing. And then we have icing sugar and boiling water. So note recommended measuring instruments that should be easily available in most households. So to measure your ingredients, it's best to use this because you will find it at home. You have a cup, you have a spoon, you have teaspoons at home, so you can use that to measure your ingredients. So if you have a spoon, a spoon is 10 milliliters. So 1 spoon, 10 milliliters. So if I want to measure 40 milliliters, I can scoop my water with my spoons. I can just get like 10, 20, 30, 40. So 4 spoons, right? That's what we do there. Okay, so now it says questions. So the first question says, identify the recommended measuring instrument that will be suitable to measure water. Now, if you come here, your water is 40 milliliters, right? So a cup, it's too big. If I just want to measure 40 milliliters using a cup, which is 250 milliliters, too big. I do have a spoon there, which is lovely. I can just say, okay, I'll do it 4 times and get 40 milliliters. Or this one, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and I do that 8 times, I'll get 40 milliliters. So I can use a spoon or I can use a teaspoon. That's for 3.1. Just going to write the answer. So 3.1.1, I can use a spoon. So I'm just going to pick one because they didn't say write all the options. They just said write a measuring instrument that you can use. So I can measure my water. Which is 40 milliliters with a spoon. So I feel like I'm too lazy to do it 8 times. So I'm just going to use a spoon and do it 4 times. And then I got my 40 milliliters of water. Okay, so we're going to go to question 3.1.2. How many milliliters of baking powder may be required to make 24 cupcakes? Now we're going to do this in different ways. Okay. How many milliliters of baking powder. So we're going to go to our ingredients and look for baking powder. And if you go right there, custard sugar, eggs, vanilla, cake flour, baking powder. We need 7 milliliters of baking powder to make 8. Now let's go back to the question. The question says, how many milliliters of baking powder may be required to make 24 cupcakes? Now, how are we going to do that? I'm going to do that in 2 different ways. First, I'm going to say, okay, 8 plus 8 plus 8 gives me 24. So if I get, for this 8, I'm going to get 7 milliliters of baking powder. Then I pour my 7 milliliters. Then I come back again and say, since I have another 8, I'm going to say 7 milliliters. And then I'm going to say 7 milliliters. So I say 7 plus 7 plus 7, 7 plus 7 plus 7, that will equal to 21 milliliters. How you do this is not important. If you understand what you're doing and you come up with the right answer, that's the important part. Okay, so I'm going to do a second method. I like this because when I have large numbers, it's easy to do. So what I'm going to do is another option here. Don't write 2 options. Just write the one that you are comfortable with. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to first come back to the question and say, the question says that we are making 24 cupcakes. Okay, but we don't know how much baking powder we need. We just have this here, which only makes 8. So we know that 7 milliliters makes 8 cupcakes. So I'm going to write it down and say 7 milliliters will give me, so is equivalent to or is equal to 8 cupcakes. Now we're going to use cross multiplication. So whenever I use cross multiplication, I'd start with is equal to. And then I say, they said how many cupcakes? 24. Okay, I want 24 cupcakes. This I know that I want, right? So now, how much am I going to need here? I don't know. So I'm just going to say, I don't know how much I need here. And then I cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, 7 times 24 is equal to unknown. It doesn't matter if you start with 7 or start with unknown, as long as they go in the right proper pairs, right? So it's a times 8 cupcakes. All right, now we have unknown here. We just say opposite of multiply. So we're looking at this unknown and multiply by 8. Opposite of multiply, divide. So we're dividing by 8 cupcakes because we want unknown to sit on its own, and that cancels that, and boom. So what did we do this side? We divided. Divided by what? By 8. So cupcakes. So now we have 7 times 24 divided by 8. 7 times 24 is equal to 160. 8 divided by 8. I like to do everything step by step. So now we have 168 divided by 8, and voila, 21. Like magic, 21 milliliters is equal to unknown. So either option is fine by me. Right, so 3.1.3. The throat. Nosizwe preheats the oven at 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Convert the preheat temperature to degrees Celsius. So Nosizwe preheats the oven at 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Now they're saying convert this temperature to degrees Celsius. No problem. We use a formula when we do that. So now the formula is, let's just go through the formula. The formula is degrees Celsius. So our unknown is this one because they're saying we must convert it to that, right? And we do have this one here, which is degrees Fahrenheit. And then we have minus 32 divided by 1.8. Always follow the formula as is. So the first thing I do when I'm going to show that I'm going to use this formula is I'm going to copy my formula down. So 3.1.3. Okay, so Degrees Celsius is equal to open bracket degrees Fahrenheit minus 32 degrees close bracket. All that is divided by 1.8. I just copied it down. Now I go back to the question. I said the question said must calculate what? Degrees Celsius. So this one is my unknown. I always note my unknown. So I do not know this. I can't substitute on it. Then I say is equal to open bracket. What comes next? The F is now that number there. So I'm just going to write 356 degrees Fahrenheit minus the 32 degrees close bracket. And then I divide by 1.8. So the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to go there and I'm going to minus 356 minus 32. That gives us 324. So degrees Celsius is equal to, and then I write 324 divided by 1.8. And then that's when I'm going to get divided by 1.8. I get 180 degrees Celsius. She will need a tray to display or to deliver her cupcakes to customers. Below is a tray with the following dimensions that she will be using. The length is equal to 40 centimeters. The width is equal to 20 centimeters. And the height is equal to 6 centimeters. But they also gave us the drawing, which I love it when they do that. And they point out where everything is. So our length is 40 centimeters. Our width is 20. And the height inside, if you look from there to there, that height is 6 centimeters. Very good. So that is saying the diagram is not drawn to scale. So you can't use a ruler here and be like, oh, that's really 10 centimeters. No. You may use the following formula. Perimeter is equal to 2 close bracket length plus width open bracket close bracket, right? Open close bracket. Okay, never mind. 2 open bracket length plus width close bracket. Now why 2? There's 2 lengths and there's 2 widths. So if you take this side and you add it to this side, you still have to times by 2 to get the rest. So what I like how when you say it's a total distance around the shape, or we say it's length plus breadth plus length plus breadth. That's the same thing. 2 lengths and 2 widths, right? Volume is length times breadth times height, and you get the space inside. Explain what the term perimeter means. Perimeter is the total distance around a shape, right? Perimeter, the total distance, this distance plus that distance plus that distance plus that distance around a shape. Now 3.2.2 says calculate the volume of the tray. We're going to calculate the volume, and how lovely that the formula is sitting right in front of us. So let's calculate the volume. Here we go. 3.2.1 perimeter. We said the perimeter is the total distance around a shape. Now 3.2.2, we have volume is equal to length times width times height. Okay, so what we're going to do again, we're going to come here and say, what does the question ask us? The question is asking us to calculate the volume. I'm going to go to my formula. Check there. My unknown is, because they want us to calculate that. So I'm going to write that. Say volume is equal to. Then before I substitute everything else, I'm going to go and make sure that the units of measurements, the centimeters, millimeters, and all that, is the same. My length is in centimeters. My breadth is in centimeters. My width is in centimeters. My height is in centimeters, right? Otherwise, if it's not the same, I have to make them the same. Also, I have to check my question here. Does it say calculate in meters squared? Then, because then that means I have to change everything to meters. Does it say calculate centimeters squared? That means I have to calculate everything in centimeters. Now, centimeter cubed. Remember, my bad there. Okay. So the length here is... The length is 40 centimeters multiplied by the width, which is 20 centimeters, multiplied by the height, which is 6 centimeters, right? And then the volume is, and we use a calculator, 40 times 20 times 6, that is 4,800 centimeter cubed. Whoa, question 3, we are done.